Here's Curtsy! Welcome back to another episode of High Voltage Diesel. On this episode of High Voltage Diesel, you are gonna see me go get the dead horse number 2 that I've been talking about. So let's check it out. Oh man, what did I do? What did I go and get now? What am I thinking? Seriously, what am I thinking? I bought this thing for a reason. I'm gonna give you guys 5 seconds to put in the comments below why I bought this, and we're gonna see how good you guys know me and how much you watch a channel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so tell me why I needed this 1976 Dodge motorhome. Because I clearly am not going to live in it because it's absolutely roached. Almost looks like they got into a fight with an army tank or a cannon. Thing isn't in bad shape. It really isn't too bad. Door's a little rough on this side, but the rockers aren't that bad. It's got flares on it, a spoiler, the grill's nice. Thing's really nice. Alright, we're gonna walk around to the other side where we can actually get in, and I'm gonna tell you guys why I bought this complete pile of junk and why today is a good day to be garbage day. Even the interior on the van part isn't that bad, but the camper part is pretty roached out, pretty good. This would be fun to come in here with a couple buddies and tear this thing right apart. Anyway, why did I buy it? Well, you're looking at the reason I bought it right here. So, this is a 360 LA Chrysler small block 360, and everyone that knows I'm restoring my 1973 Plymouth Duster, and I've been looking for a long time for a nice running 360, and here is a nice running 360. At least it drove up on the trailer running nice 360, but the good part about it is I heard it run. Because normally you buy an engine for something like a classic car, you just go to someone's house and they load the engine on the back of your truck and you take their word for whatever it is, and you don't hear it run and you have no idea if it runs. So this, I drove it on the trailer. It doesn't run good because the carburetor just pours gas while it's, once you finally get it running, the carburetor is just pouring gas down in the motor, and she is not happy. But it seems to run all right when you're in the throttle, so I really don't even want to start this thing anymore, but I have to start it again for you guys to see it. So at some point in this video, we are going to start this thing again, so just stick around. An hour and a half one way, 3 hours of driving, was for that little motor right there. Probably, I think the motors in these are supposed to come out through here, but I think with the grapple bucket and the skid steer, we're gonna have some different plans of getting that motor out. All right, I got this turd all unstrapped, all the chains off, got the ramps down, and we're facing slightly trailers that way, so it's in neutral right now, but it ain't gonna go anywhere. It needs help, and I don't have the skid steer here, so the only other thing that I have to help me get this off without going through the trouble to start it is the old Ransom's mower. So we're gonna try and get that thing fired up and see if we could yank it off with that. Well, there she is. She's finally home. Home at the high voltage diesel junkyard, I guess. Oh yeah. Now, from there up, it's pretty decent actually. Well, dude was I asked him, I said, where's the hood prop? He says right here. Wiper. I guess it's probably not really the most robust thing. Oh yeah. It's probably asking for a headache right there. Yeah, so I'm sure if that falls on my head, we'd be probably be scrapping this thing earlier than expected. There's the little 360 down in there. Antifreeze looks pretty good. That's a good sign, and it's full. That's a really good sign. Don't look like there's any oil or anything in it. This thing smells like there's more gas in the crankcase than oil, so I definitely don't want to be starting this thing up too much. Probably just one more time for you guys, and that's gonna be it. The 360s have the ridges here, the fins in the center of the manifold, and the 318s, this would be smooth. And what's really nice about Mopar stuff is that the serial numbers underneath the manifold actually says 360 right in there. So right there, of course I can only get one hand in here, but right there, those last three numbers on that casting are 360. If it was a 318, that'd be 318. If it was a 340, it'd be 340. If it's a 360, it'll say 360. And that's right below the exhaust manifold on both sides of the block. So that's what's nice. It's not like the Chevy ones and the other ones where you got to decode them and try to figure out like if it's a 327 or a 350 or 305. Because the 340, a 360, and a 318 look pretty much identical. But the serial numbers don't lie, so that's pretty cool. Somebody put a new starter on this thing, so good for me. I don't know what kind of transmission this is. The transmissions, on the other hand, I'm not really sure how to tell what they are, but I already have a transmission for my Duster anyway. Oh. Huh. Like that's there. And that's just a 2-barrel. Sounds, it's following out so bad it sounds like it's got a cam. All right, I don't want to spin all the bearings in it, so I guess we'll just call it there. Out she comes. Antifreeze. What do I do with this? Find a place for it. There you go. Antifreeze engine. Even the antifreeze smells like gas.
Well, it should. You're putting it in a gas tank.
Yeah, I know. It can identify as gas.
That's a good one.
Today, the antifreeze identifies as gas. Fill her up. Yeah, her out of there.
Shroud off.
There you go. Rip that thing off.
That's what I'm trying to do.
There you go.
It's kind of cool.
This thing is getting stripped of its identity.
No, that's how you do body work, folks.
Yeah.
This is how a 45-year-old veteran does it.
Man, I love sawzalls. I tell you what. Yeah. Man, I wish I had one of those demo saws with a big wheel on it. Just. It made quite a hole.
Remember, I might.
Alright, it's time to get this video finished up. This motor's ready to come out of this heap. It's been like 2 weeks since the last shot when we were taking this thing apart. And it's sitting outside. The sun is going down. And we got motors to pull out. Everything's unhooked from this piece of junk. And whatever isn't unhooked is gonna get uprooted. So yeah, we're gonna get this thing out of here. Yeah guys, well here's gonna be a case of the you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't put a strap around there. You gotta get a bolt from the intake and put it on like everybody else does. Or get one of those fancy pullers that go on top of the intake. You can't put a strap around there like that. You're gonna break something. You can't put a strap around the balancer pulley. He's gonna bend that crank. He's gonna bend that crank. This engine is gonna be junk by the time I get it out, so I might as well just load it right back in the back of this thing and just send the whole thing down the road. So yeah, this thing's gonna be ruined. Crank is just gonna wobble all over the place. All right, we are held up on this heater box right here. So we need to do something to get that heater box out of the way. The old axe does it every time. All right, I think that's out of the way enough. I think that was what was holding us up, so let's try this again. Our nice 360. Yeah, I could say this is definitely the right way to get an engine out of a vehicle. That's the proper way to take the heater core out and the blower motor. And you just cut everything, you know? You just cut it all right off. Let's see what we got. What'd we break? We didn't break nothing. I bet we completely destroyed that crank though by pulling that out like that. Man, oh man, we probably just may as well just load this thing right up and ship it. Junk. It's junk now, that's for sure. Good, that's exciting. All right, great. So now I have to break it down a little more and put it on the engine stand. I tell you what though, after messing around with all these heavy truck parts, like axles right there and just truck engines and transmissions and all that stuff, this kind of stuff here working on cars is this like playing with a Tonka toy. This is like a paperweight, a little tiny paperweight compared to a truck engine. Look at this. I guarantee it. Just a few of you guys out there are gonna be like, look at this fool working underneath this suspended load with no jack stands or anything like that. You know what? These split freight straps are... I'll trust my life with these split freights. You know what? Yeah, that's what I got to say. Anyway, we got a lot of work to do. We got to pull the manifolds off. We're going to try to lighten this thing up because you just wait until you see my engine stand. It is the biggest roached out pile of junk you've ever seen in your life. And if you put anything on it more than like a bare block, it like gains like, you know, 50 years and it just sags right down. So I got to cut a piece of wood to put underneath the front of it. So we're going to try to take some weight off of this thing. Obviously the transmission, and I think the manifolds are probably 400 pounds a piece on this 34.0. No, this is a 3516 right here. 3508, that's what it is. It's got eight pistons. So this is a 3508 cat. This thing weighs about 36,000 pounds. So let's start taking a ton at a time off of this thing, shall we? Wonder if I could pound, this thing's just rounded right off because it's so rusty. I wonder if I can pound a smaller size on that thing. All right, we Hammurabi'd a 12 millimeter on here. Oh yeah, that did the job. All right, good. Extract. Oh yeah, there's about 600 pounds right there. All right, time to take the flywheel bolts, flex plate bolts off. Look at this. This is what you call thinking ahead. You lift this thing up from the balancer, and then when you have to try to turn it to get the flex plate bolts off, it makes it fun. That still turns though. Who said it had to be easy? All we gotta do is just get our Bronco bar on, our Bronco pipe. Just give her the onions. She'll go. If the motor falls, nobody knows. Last one. There we go. Yeah, we just have to take the owl filter off so we can get this last bolt out here. There's no owl in the owl filter. Oh, man, this oil is like pure gas. This thing was dumping a lot of gas down in that motor. I'm not really excited to see that. But we're gonna check the bearings and everything. We're gonna check it out. She definitely ran good, so I'm not worried that anything too crazy is wrong. Alright, so the tranny's ready to come off. Just gotta lower this down. There is one thing I noticed that makes me a little nervous. I noticed that the freeze plug is missing here, and somebody's got like some kind of plug or something going on. So that tells me that most likely this engine froze at one time. So I'm not liking that. However, there did not appear to be any water in the oil. I didn't take the oil out yet. But actually, let's take the oil out right now. Because if there's water in it, the water would be on the bottom, and it hasn't been disturbed. So yeah, let's drain the oil on this thing so we can see. I bet you there's a ton of gas in this oil. Well, that's another concerning thing. I just went to put a wrench on this and it's already loose. Man, oh man. I think there's any oil in this thing. Well, if there was any water in this oil, I'm thinking it probably already came out. I tell you what, this oil smells like pure gas coming out of here. That's insane. Just pure gasoline coming out. Yeah. Definitely want to check these bearings. I mean, look at that. That's just like super, super, super thin. Insane. That definitely don't look like 5 quarts of oil. Or even 6. There's probably a 5 or 6 quart pan easy in this thing. Especially for a motorhome. That ain't 6 quarts of oil in there, so this poor engine. Yeah, we're gonna definitely be taking this. I mean, it obviously, anyway, if you're going to put this in a car, you definitely want to check it out. Real curious to see what things look like. Hopefully not bad, but this thing ran so good that I'm confident that there's no major damage to it anywhere. The cooling system was full. There was no oil in the antifreeze or anything like that, so from what I see, there's no antifreeze in the oil, so I'm thinking the block probably isn't cracked. So that'd be very ideal if the block's not cracked. This is how confident I am in the amount of oil that the gas is in this oil. Yeah, regular motor oil isn't gonna burn like that. That's for sure. Don't worry, I put it out. I'm not gonna kill every tree and butterfly and thing with my oil burning. Anyway, all right, now we can focus on getting the transmission off of this thing. Easy. This ain't like a truck. This stuff is paperweight light. There ain't nothing to this. Alright, now it's time to put this piece of junk engine stand on this thing. These long bolts. A 2x6 cut because this engine stand just sags with a full engine on it. I actually built a big block Chevy on this engine stand and it did not like that. I had two engines. Actually, this is the third engine I've had on this engine stand since I've had it. I already got it used anyway. Looks like somebody put that brace on there before I got it, and it's always held up, but man, it's pretty scary sometimes. I had a 318 that was out of my purple Duster that was all built up. I had on this. Actually, I was going to put that motor in this Duster, but I wanted a 360, so I sold that, bought that lathe over there with the money, and now I got my 360. In the meantime, I built a big block Chevy 396, 427, 402, something like that, can't remember, on this, and that went in a 78 Malibu, and here we are again, third engine. So I know from experience that you definitely want something, when it's just a block on there with no heads, even the rotating assembly, no heads, no intake, it'll hold it fine. But man, when you put it down like this, I tell you what, it's not something that looks very happy. It just sags right down, so rather not test it out too much. And there it is. We finally got another 500-pound block of junk successfully inside the high voltage garage. Yeah, more stuff to do. I hope you guys stick around, because on the next episode of, well, I don't know about the next episode, but on a very future episode of High Voltage Diesel, we are going to not completely take this motor apart, but we are going to open this thing up. We're going to take the intake off, the valve covers off, pull the oil pan off, check a couple bearings, and we are going to do an inspection on this thing to see if we got completely screwed or not. All right, thank you everyone for watching another episode of High Voltage Diesel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hang on. Make sure you smash that like and smash that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any future videos from High Voltage Diesel. But wait just a minute. Make sure you stay tuned for the next video of this motorhome, because I have something really special planned for it. And trust me, you guys do not want to miss the next episode of High Voltage Diesel.